Okay, so this is going to be a spicy video. This is something that I wasn't going to get into, but Ariel Helwani, the rat, brought us there last night when he accused Chael Sonnen of being anti-Semitic. Of course he did. What else would he do?
He is a fucking rat and a weasel, because that's what a rat and a weasel does, tries to manipulate words and create something that's not there.
I'm going to talk about this crazy story here on screen. Ex-Bellator Israeli fighter Haim Ghazali posts pictures of missiles inscribed with the names Khabib, Islam, Khamzat and Belal Muhammad. And these missiles with the UFC's top fighters' names inscribed across them are going to be dropped on Gaza. And obviously for people like this guy, and I guess Ariel Helwani as well, the more brown children that get blown up, the better. So I'm going to get to that, but I'm going to touch on the Ariel Helwani stuff first. Let's have a little listen to what he thought. I'm not going to cover the whole argument between him and Chael over Francis Ngannou. I think there was twos and fro's happening there. I think Chael wouldn't accept defeat. Not that there was a massive defeat had. How could you, with the likes of Ariel being a complete weasel? Right off the bat in that video, he was trying to antagonize, demanding an apology from Chael Sonnen for being wrong. The two of them were throwing out facts left, right and center. It was going around and around and around. I think that Chael made some extremely valid points. I think that Ariel Helwani made one or two decent points, but we know that Chael isn't going to stick the boot to the floor when it comes to like talking shit about the UFC. And of course we have Ariel projecting the victim consciousness thing very well, as expected. He feels that he can say whatever he wants, and then of course he's allowed to backtrack out of it and turn the tables on other people. He's done it over and over again, especially when it comes to Dana White. We saw the whole thing with Paddy Pimblett. We saw the whole thing with Jamal Hill. Look, the dude is vile and rotten, and even more so after this. So Ariel partook in this argument with Chael Sonnen, his friend or ex-friend I guess now at this stage. Chael threatened to strangle him, which I thought was funny. We had Ariel awkwardly calling him out, calling him on, saying you don't have the balls, step to it, come on. Repeatedly calling Chael a weasel as well. But he took offense to the word weasel, and let's have a little look.
So I don't know what Chael is talking about, and I'll just say, like, he could throw out all the, you know, it's very en vogue these days to call me a weasel, to call me a rat, to call me a this, that, and the other. These are very en vogue things. And I wouldn't dare question why these things are being brought up. These specific words. I wouldn't dare. You all know, and you're all very smart.
So Ariel actually goes there, and after what has happened in the last couple of weeks, it's predictable that he was going to go to the anti-Semitic thing. Yeah, and I guess Dave Chappelle said it best.
You know, the rules of perception. If they're black, then it's a gang. If they're Italian, it's a mob. But if they're Jewish, it's a coincidence, and you should never speak about it.
So we've seen this narrative play out in the last 3 or 4 weeks. If they're brown people and they're Palestinian, we get to plaster their pictures all over the internet and call them savages and that they deserve to die horrible deaths. If they're on the other side of that wall, then you can't speak about it, because even if you veer into the vicinity of having that conversation about Ariel and his people, then you will be deemed anti-Semitic. Just like Dave Chappelle was attacked after that bit, just like everybody else that mentions the coincidental fact that the nation that is so powerful, that their intelligence system is so advanced, that a couple of guys wearing sandals and a paraglider were able to get over the wall, seems a little bit dodgy, a little bit sus, that there might be a little bit more to that story. You mentioned that, and of course you will feel the wrath of the ADL coming after you to censor your speech. So there's a dichotomy here. Sometimes it's a fake one, sometimes it's a real one. When we look at it in terms of picking a side, which they love to make you do, I see a lot of the Republicans in America and even here in Ireland and in Europe, they seem to be picking sides in this conflict, and nobody wants to see innocent people die. It's absolutely disgusting. But nobody wants to see a ceasefire either. You look at the likes of Ben Shapiro, you look at the likes of Charlie Kirk, you look at the likes of all these shills, these actual Republican conservative grifters, and they are just frothing at the mouth for blood. They want to see more and more brown children stack up in an open air prison where the population consists of 70% under the age of 18. Your sentiments are to keep bombing, destroy it, turn it to dust. And by the way, when they flee, let's stop them going into neighboring countries, and by chance we actually let them get out, or they're getting put straight over here to Ireland, over to England, over to France and over to Italy. So in terms of that dichotomy, I don't know whether there's an upside. The upside probably should be, and for me would be, can you stop attacking and killing innocent people? Could we stop doing that? Could we have a little bit of consistency, less hypocrisy? I know it's a lot to ask, especially from the media and from people like Ariel Helwani and his followers and the people that espouse the exact same sentiments that he did here. The victim consciousness thing kicked in real fast for Ariel yesterday. After a 50-minute debate, all of a sudden he started alluding to this might be kind of anti-Semitic, you know, because I was called a weasel. Very interesting, but not surprising. Not whatsoever. Where is the consistency? As I said at the beginning of this video, we have stories coming out of Israeli cage fighter writes the names of Muslim UFC stars on artillery shells destined to be used in the war in Hamas. Okay, do we have Ariel calling that out? I don't see that. Here we can see the names of all the UFC stars. I'm sure that Ariel is loving that this morning. Because we do know if we go back to 2 weeks ago, after Khamzat Chimaev had that kind of robbery situation with Kamaru Usman, Ariel had a problem with it.
One last thing, because I feel like we can't just ignore this all the time. And maybe the back end of the show is not the best place to have this discussion. Or maybe it is. Maybe it's the perfect place to have this discussion. What do we make of and what to do with some of the uncomfortableness of someone like Khamzat Chimaev being very close friends with a Chechen dictator, rubbing elbows, his sons taking photos with Dana White, the visuals after the fight. Do we just ignore all of this? Like, I don't really know how to process all of this.
Surely anybody that watches Ariel Helwani and that holds any sort of brain cells understands that what he's doing here is kind of a gaslighting situation. You know, he's putting it out there as if it's a kind of a discernment where there's a conversation to be had whether do we like the fact that Khamzat Chimaev has a relationship with Kadyrov and that he mentioned about picking up rifles in the aftermath when he initially said that he wanted peace. And as I said, this is a very nuanced situation, one that most people should kind of veer away from because there's going to be no real winner in terms of the online which side are you picking here argument. It's garbage. I guess the best thing to do is to keep reiterating my stance on it would be I don't want to see any more innocent people dying. How about we just stop bombing the Palestinian children? It's all about instability in the Middle East. If we go back to the times where Trump said that this would never happen under his watch, who's to say whether that's the case or not? But would this conflict have exhumed itself and kicked everything back into where it is now? We see Biden and his administration bending the knee, kissing the wall, wearing the hat over and over again. It seems to be a prerequisite. And now the American people are going to have to send their hard-earned tax money to continue this bombing of a 70% populace that are under 18 over and over and over again. And you cannot speak about it. You cannot mention it on any sort of platform, otherwise you will be deplatformed. This is a risky one for me. If you're watching this video, maybe share it out on other platforms and just try to get the word out there, because I'm probably going to get hit for this video. I've been hit 2 or 3 times in the last few weeks for hate speech. So again, when you push back against Ariel and his narrative and the US administrative congressional narrative, you're going to get pushback online. They don't want it. Did we hear Ariel say anything about Michel Pereira wearing the Israeli flag a few weeks ago? When he was asked this question about why he wore it, this was his answer.
Can you talk to me about the decision to wear the flag today?
Pode me falar sobre a decisão de ter a bandeira hoje? The decision was because of the war that's happening in Israel. I have a lot of friends there, and I saw a lot of videos that broke my heart. I was even talking to Diego, one of them, that I saw a little kid, the kid was sleeping, then when the kid woke up, was like starving, and now I have a baby. I have a kid at home, so when I saw the video, it broke my heart, so I decided to.
And this is exactly what these videos were supposed to do. We were supposed to paint Hamas as these absolute savages that came in there and attacked children. And in the last 3 weeks, we have seen not 1 or 2 kind of isolated videos from an isolated attack. We have seen hundreds of children being obliterated. And nobody is wearing a flag for them in the UFC. Belal Muhammad, Khamzat Chimaev, all these guys, they're not even allowed to wear a flag anymore. Where's Ariel, the 14-time reporter of the year or whatever that garbage he was trying to spit out at Chael? Where is that reporting, pal? Oh, it only goes one way, I have you. And if it doesn't go that way and it veers your way for 1 second, it's an ADL situation and everybody gets shut down. Absolutely disgusting behavior from Ariel Helwani. He's a vile human being. Predictably went to the victim consciousness against Chael because at the time it was still raw. He didn't know whether he got the better of Chael in the argument. He was coping a lot. There was a lot of cognitive dissonance there where he was saying, I know so much more about boxing and I know so much more about the contracts. It was like, dude, you went there just as a little caveat on the side. In case you came out looking bad at the end of this whole argument, you slotted in the old anti-Semitism in there. Well done, pal. Again, this is a risky video. Let me know your thoughts down below. If any of it made sense, I appreciate you. Cheers.